What's good, YouTube? It's your boy Tank Be Chopping, and I'm back with another haircut tutorial. Alright, so what we finna be doing on this cut is a number 2.5 on top and a mid bald fade. So as y'all can see, I got my limited edition gold Andis Masters. I got my number 2 guard on my clipper. The lever is fully open and I'm going over the top, just getting all this down to that desired length. And y'all know how I do it when I go over the top with a clipper, guys. I like to go against the grain, across the grain, every which way I need to go to make sure all this hair is down to that length. Especially on this type of hair, you know, if we were doing like a waver or something, we wouldn't be going, behind, going against the grain and across the grain. But since we're doing straight hair, we're going every which way just to make sure this hair is down to that length, make sure we don't have any straight hairs, and make sure it's all perfectly even on top. And you're gonna see me go over the top a couple times. Like I said, guys, I just want to be real consistent with it and basically just make sure it's all even. Y'all let me know what y'all thinking about these gold masters so far, guys. Y'all make sure to go check out my latest video of these masters, the unboxing. Y'all check that out. Let me know what y'all think. Alright, so now that that is done, what I'm doing here is I'm basically going to be debulking the sides a little bit. So I'm starting off with my Andis 2 guard on there. However, my lever is halfway closed and I'm coming up right to that parietal ridge using a slight flick out motion. And basically what I'm doing is, like I said, is I'm debulking and I'm doing some down fading technique just so I make this fade a little easier for me. So I started with my lever halfway open, and then what I did was I closed it all the way, and still the same thing, guys. I'm coming right under what I just did with my lever halfway open, and I'm just floating that clipper up and out, knocking all this down, trying not to create a line. That way, when I actually start fading, I only got to fade until number 2 instead of a 2 open. And honestly, guys, the only reason why I went in with my lever halfway open was because I know the Andis lever is slightly longer than, the wall or the gamma. It's a little longer. So I decided to let's do it halfway first and then close all the way to ensure that I do not leave a line. So now I'm taking my Babyliss Skeleton FX and I'm setting in my bald guideline. So like I said, we are doing a mid fade, so we're coming right about where the C cup is. I am doing it slightly lower than what I normally would do it, just because I'm really not too fluent with these clippers yet. Yes, I do use them, but I don't use them all the time, so these clippers aren't as I'm not as fluent with them, guys. So I decided to give myself a little more room to work with just to make sure, and I think I made a good decision on that, and y'all gonna see later on. But so I'm starting off with that bald guideline. I did leave the C cup a little dark, and I'm just following this line all the way around, and then I'm gonna start on this opposite side of his head and create this bald line on this side, and then I'm gonna connect the 2 lines. And even though I said this is slightly lower than what I normally do my mid fades, if you do your mid fades right here, that's perfectly fine, guys. Each barber has their own style, their own unique style that they put to their haircuts. So if this is where your mid fades are, that's perfectly fine. Ain't nothing wrong with that. I know a lot of people, they get too caught up in where they place the fade. And yes, even though it does matter if they want a mid fade or a low fade, but if that's your style and if that's what you do consistently, then the clients are gonna know what to ask for based on what you've been given. I hope that makes sense. I hope that didn't go over y'all head. I was trying to make it make sense as much as I could, so I hope y'all can understand that. Alright, so since we are doing a bald fade, I'm going in with my Uno. No, I'm lying, not my Uno shaver. I'm going in with my Prodigy shaver from Gamma, and I'm taking all that down the skin. And the closer I get to that bald guideline, I start to relieve some pressure and I flick out that shaver slightly. And as you can see, I'm trying to get all this down, guys. We want to get this as short as possible. That way this haircut lasts him a little longer than it normally would. And just for disclaimer purposes, this is actually the first time I cut this man's hair. He's new in the town. He said this is his second haircut in town. So this is my first time cutting his hair, yeah, but let's get back into this haircut video. Alright, so now we actually getting into man, I hate when I can't be speaking properly. Alright, let's start over. We're getting into some actual fade work now. As you can see, I'm taking my clipper with the lever all the way open, and I'm coming up about 3/4 of an inch to an inch. And once again, guys, the reason why I'm coming up a little higher than I normally do is because I know this lever stretches a little wider than my normal clippers. Therefore, I wanted to stretch that guideline out just to make this easier for me and I can see really what's going on. So I started with my lever all the way open, and what I'm going to do is, the good thing about these masters is they have those notches on them, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to close my lever notch by notch and come up slightly lower each time. So right here my lever is closed 1 notch, and I'm coming up slightly below what I did with my lever all the way open. Then I'm going to close my lever down another notch and come up right below that, and so on until I reach that bottom line with my lever all the way closed, taking away that bottom line. And I did not zero gap these clippers yet, guys, so you know, it may or may not take that line completely out. They are gapped pretty good straight out the box, at least mine were. But you know, if it doesn't take it out, I can always come back with a trimmer if needed. And that is one thing good about zero gapping your clippers is, you know, it's easy to get out that bottom line. So what I like to do is I like to have at least one of my clippers completely zero gap. That way, if I can't take that line out with any other clipper with the lever closed, I can just use that clipper to get that bottom line out. But here we are taking out that bottom line with my lever all the way closed, and as you can see, it's taking out that line for the most part. I may need to come back and do some more detail work at that bottom line, or I may not. It just depends on how this looks. But if you see me adjusting my lever, all I'm basically doing is some small detail work within this section. So now I'm coming in with my number 1 guard with the lever all the way open. Same thing, guys, I'm coming up another section and I'm using a slight flick out motion. So in theory, this should not leave a line because, you know, I came up previously when I first started this haircut, I did that number 2 on the sides. So in theory, it shouldn't leave a line. However, it may or may not. It just depends on, you know, how you did it. So on me, on this haircut, it left a slight, really faint line. You probably can't even see it from this angle, but it did. But anyways, so then I started with my lever all the way open, like I said, setting that next guideline. And then I did the same thing that I did previously. I closed my lever a little bit, came up right below that, and then now my lever is currently all the way closed and I'm attacking that bottom line. And this may not get this line completely out, and I know that, so I know I'm gonna have to come in with my 0 guard or my 1/16 guard if needed. So here is that 0 guard that I was just talking about. So you can say 0 or 1/16, whichever you prefer. And I started off with my lever halfway open, and I'm just flicking at that bottom line. I'm really not coming up into that section too much. I'm just flicking at that bottom line, and I'm adjusting my lever closed, and basically still flicking at that bottom line, trying to get this line completely out, trying to get this completely blended and make sure that it looks nice, and just make sure that it fades into the top really good. And I did do this haircut tutorial a little different, guys. I did not record the other side of the haircut, and reason being is, you know, not just because it was my first time cutting his hair, but because I had a client right after him and I didn't want to take too much time recording the video. You know, sometimes recording videos takes me a little longer, so I just wanted to record one side so y'all can see it. And then yeah, basically that's the reason why I did it this way. Now I'm going in with my number 2 guard, just doing some cleanup work. So I started off at the parietal ridge with my number 2 guard, just cleaned it up a little bit. Now I'm going back in with my number 1 guard. Lever is all the way open, and I'm cleaning it up, and I'm gonna adjust that lever as needed to clean up this section. So remember, guys, this is after all my steps are completely done. I go back in and I detail, and then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna line him up and then detail more if needed. So now I'm going in with my clipper, no guard on there, just adjusting that lever as needed, using a flick out motion, doing some corner blending, you know, just using the corner of my blade just to get them small details to look good. And yeah, that's what we're doing. And personally, I think this fade is coming out pretty blurry. Y'all let me know what y'all think about this haircut so far in the comments, guys. Also, please make sure to smash that like button. I'd greatly appreciate it, guys. Alright, so now we're moving on to his lineup. Y'all know how I do, guys. I start in the middle of the head and then I just work my way over, so that's what I'm doing here. Shout out to my boy Tito Beats, man. He just sent me over some new beats. That's what y'all hearing right now. They some bangers. I appreciate it, man. Also, guys, remember, if you're new to my channel, if you just happen to stumble across this video for whatever reason, please make sure to smash that like button. Also, please make sure to subscribe one time for your boy. And yeah, man, it's gonna help this channel out a lot, and the more y'all help me, the more I try to help y'all. So I'm gonna try to keep coming out with videos, not just tutorials, but I'm gonna try to be doing some different things. You know, I did do an unboxing the other day. I did some reaction videos. If y'all like those videos, let me know what y'all think down in the comment section. Let me know what type of videos y'all like to see from me, man. Like, I'm always trying to do what my subscribers want me to do. Like, y'all been asking me for tutorials with different clippers, so that's what I'm doing. Someone asked me to do some reaction videos, so that's what I did. Like I said, guys, just give me any suggestions. And if I think, you know, they're gonna work well, then I'm gonna go ahead and do them for y'all. But y'all check out that blend though. I think that blend is popping, man. Like, it's going. Let's go. So once that lineup is put in, guys, it really helps me see the blend a little better. So I'm just going back in and doing some more detail work. And I started off with my number 2 guard, and I'm basically gonna do some fade down technique just to make sure it's all blended in together and to take away any discrepancies. And once again, guys, I'm just throwing this out there. These aren't the clippers I normally use. I normally do not use my I normally do not use Andis Masters, but I had been using them. You know, I'm using them a little more just because I want to give a full review on these clippers. But my normal clippers are my Gammas or my Wall Seniors or my Babyliss. You know, the different type of the different guard system is what I'm trying to say. Those are my normal clippers. But anyways, I think the haircut still came out good. As y'all can see, I'm lining them up now with that with the razor, and all I'm doing is going over everything I did with the trimmer, making sure I'm getting these lines nice and sharp and as crisp as possible. So I did record a little bit of this side of the haircut. Really is just the end result. All I did was I lined him up, and then I saw that there were some discrepancies in the fade, so I decided to go back and clean that up. And I just wanted to do that on camera because I want y'all to know, guys, sometimes you think you're done and you're not. Like, I happened to just turn and see him in the mirror, and I was like, oh man, I need to take care of this haircut a little more. So that's basically what I wanted to do here, is show y'all that happens sometimes, and that's perfectly fine. You just gotta you just gotta tend to it and make sure you fix it. And we did not add any enhancements on his cut. You know, he didn't want any enhancements, so all we did was line him up and then hit it with that razor and get that as crisp as we possibly could. And here I am finishing up his lineup on top. Remember, guys, you want to make sure you stretch that skin tight. That way you lessen the chance of nicking your client. Alright, YouTube, check it out. This is how my man walked into the shop looking. He said, hey Tank, hook me up. I ain't had a haircut, you know, in a good minute. Hook it up. And this is how my man walked out. Y'all let me know what y'all think about this haircut in the comments, guys. If y'all like this video, please make sure to smash that like button. Also, if you're new to my channel, make sure to subscribe one time for your boy. And that's pretty much it, YouTube. I appreciate y'all for watching. Until next time, let's go.